What's up, guys? Chain Reaction here, coming at you with another one. Today we're going to talk a little bit about gear, what I use, what I recommend, and if you're a new rider who's looking at putting together their first kit, some things that maybe you should look for. And we'll get into it after the jump. Alright, gear. One of the most often discussed and often debated topics in motorcycling. So, what do I wear? I own two helmets, actually. First helmet was an Arai Corsair X, which I bought based on the recommendation from another content creator. Anyway, so I own a Corsair X, and it was my main helmet. But I'd always had a problem with it, mainly due to the fact that it's got the aerodynamics of an egg. So I bought a Shoei RF 1400. It's just something different to try. I love the helmet. It was great. It fit great. It was nice and quiet, which, you know, as a moto vlogger, that is somewhat important. But ran into quality control issues, and I actually have another video, which I will link down below, detailing my my whole story of that helmet. So anyway, after the RF 1400, I got a Shoei X15, which is what I'm currently wearing. It's a little louder than the RF 1400, which is to be expected because it is Shoei's full track helmet. But it's comfortable and has great aerodynamics. And I live in a region of the country that sees a lot of high wind. And besides that, I just think it looks cool. And the Shoei X15 has the auspicious honor, if you want to call it that, of being the only triple certified helmet. That's DOT, Snell, and ECE. Now, the ECE certification it holds is an older one, ECE 2205, but I haven't really read anywhere that 2206 is that much an improvement. For jacket, I'm wearing a Sedici Corsa leather, which is my main jacket, except for parts of the year that just get way too hot for leather. And if you live in Texas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those situations, I use a Sedici Chicane textile jacket. What I like about the Sedici jackets is they all ship with CE level 2 armor. There's a whole lot of other jackets on the market that only have CE level 1 armor. And for gloves, I'm currently using the Racer High Racers. I wasn't too sure about the Racers at first. It wasn't a brand I'd heard a whole lot about, but caught a few sport bike track gear videos where they were talking about them, and from what they were saying, it seemed like they were right on par with the big names like Alpine Stars, Dainese, all those. So I thought, yeah, sure. And at the price point, because I was looking at spending $300 on another pair of Alpine Stars GB Pros, and so far, aside from a small quality control issue I had with the stitching on one of the gloves coming undone, It's been great. They're very comfortable. They fit like a glove, and they've kangaroo palms. Cowhide chassis, I believe, and TPU armor in all the right places. Now my riding pants, typically I've got a pair of Joe Rocket Anthem, I think they are. I don't recall exactly. Riding shoes, Aramid, Kevlar, CE level 2 armor in the hips and knees. I'd like to have an actual pair of leather pants, but really not important until I get to the point where I'm going to start doing track days. And for boots, I usually wear the Alpinestars SMX6 V2s. Which are a great street food, by the way. I have a pair of Alpinestars Supertex, but those are a bit overkill for the street, quite honestly, so I very rarely pull them out. And for my backpack, I typically use a Kriega R25. I have a Motoloop backpack. As a matter of fact, I have another video where I kind of compare the two and my own experience with them. But I'm not a big fan of the straps on the Motoloop, so I tend to stick with the Kriega. Anywho, that's what I generally use. Now, if you're someone that's shopping for their first kit, you're about to take your MSF or about to get your bike. For someone new like that, looking at gear can be intimidating because there's a lot out there, and what's good and what's not can be a bit confusing. So, all right, helmet. The main thing you need to worry about on a helmet is not, does it have Bluetooth, not how cool does it look, it's, does it fit your head correctly? That is paramount, because that's actually part of the reason I ditched the RI and went Shoei. Well, Shoei is just a better fit for my head and my face shape. See, when I first got my RI, I was a lot heavier, and I was a large at that point. But then I lost over 100 pounds and discovered that I was no longer a large, I was now a medium. So yeah, my advice on a helmet would be, if you want to buy it online, sure, but find a gear store near you and go get fitted. I mean, find a helmet that fits you. And any helmet that's sold in the United States will carry the DOT certification. But we need to pay attention to the secondary certifications. It needs to have at least Snell or ECE. If it's a DOT only lid, walk away. Also, those real cheap helmets you see on Amazon or Temu or any of those retailers, walk away. I know several people that those are their first helmets, and they got them because they were cheap, and they ended up trading up to a better model pretty soon afterwards. gloves. The main thing with gloves. Now, I prefer the full gauntlets just because it provides coverage for your wrist. But it needs to have a leather palm. Palm sliders are the main things I'd look for. Almost caught some air right there. This wind is getting nuts. Jacket, leather is best, but you can rock a mesh or a textile, you know, just depending on climate where you live. It needs to be armored. At CE level 1 at the bare minimum. Do not buy any of those fashion leather jackets. They will not help you. CE level 1 in the shoulders and elbows with some sort of protection for the back. The boots, I am a big proponent of full-length track style boots. And I'll once again say that the A-Stars SMX6 are about a perfect street boot. Now, I know that riding shoes are a thing. My problem with those is they do not provide coverage for the calf. And very early in my riding career, it was like the second time I had this thing on the street, I target fixated in a left turn and went down and ended up with the motorcycle pinning my left leg. I had a real hard time getting out from under the bike. And I was wearing a pair of those riding shoes at the time, and I ended up with hellacious bruises on that leg. And after that, I won't ride anything less than a full boot. So if you're shopping for a boot, make sure it prevents lateral ankle movement. And TPU armor on the shin and on the toes would be preferable. Now, pants is not quite as vital for street riding, but at very least you want something with some sort of abrasion resistance. Kevlar lined, Aramid lined, preferably both. And thankfully there's a lot of pairs of riding jeans like that that can be picked up for less than $200. Anyway, that's been my breakdown on gear. I hope this is helpful. Any questions? Want me to further expand on something? Drop me a comment down below. I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. And this is Chain Reaction. Out.